threat coming up from them again this time.
Yeah, I do agree that it does start to look a little bit more linear, especially playing around with a Baxia to frontline all these engagements. So it seems like
Sir,
they
what's
are
your
very
command?
well
Your
used to it.
team is
But
banning.
once more, you did talk about how this fanny band actually signifies what's in store, something that's going to be a beefy frontline as well. Maybe you might want to change that Baxia to something different, but even so, what exactly is that option? So I guess it's more of the carry sort of gameplay that will be the difference maker for
Always on
most
the
part for
way.
Smart
Your
Omega.
team is
So
banning.
we won't be expecting too much of changes when it comes down to the bans, I guess.
Yeah, but you know what? There's
Your team
no
is
big complaint
banning.
about them picking the Bucks, except for the fact that it gets a little bit predictable.
Hmm.
But execution wise and all that, it's kind of okay. The fight became like 50-50, and that's all. And they were comfortable in using that sort of team comp. So if they were to pick the Bucks again, I wouldn't be too surprised. But for me, as someone, well, for us, as someone who has watched all their games since yesterday, I'd like to see something different.
Your team is
Yeah, and
banning.
I think like that pocket pick itself may actually be something that will either do them a great deal because of how YRG will have to play
I
around
want
the sort of a
Tana's
new pick,
banning.
or it could also work a little bit difficult for the team because now they really have to adjust for a different sort of approach of how they want to actually secure objectives and how they would ideally move around the map. So I'm just looking at the things that they probably would want to bring to the table. Hmm, it's really hard to say because like the Kufa was absolutely fine when we look at it. It's just that maybe heading into the later stages of the game, like the impact is not as prevalent as compared to the early stages of the game of what it does offer. But I don't really have too much complaints for that. So
Your
final ban,
team is
always the final ban is
banning.
coming from the side of YRG.
To
So
live is to
more
trick the
on Smart
Reaper.
Omega on their priorities now.
Yep, so it's going to be the Bruno. The Baxia might be left for later because they have the first pick. So you don't want to like pick up the Baxia and then having been countered by tank shredders very early on. So they can still go for that later on because it has not been the trend for YOODO Red Giants to pick up the Baxia. So I don't think they're too worried about that. So they're picking out something that is like safe and fairly, I must say, common. So that's going to be the Bruno. But it's going to be the same picks all around again. So we're going to see the Arlot again. We're going to see the 1-1. I guess we're going to see the Boxer again now.
Yeah, it's just a full run it back at the moment, unless if the side of Smart Omega wants to steer another direction from here on. So just a change by picking a Novaria over a mid to replace the Lilia that they did pick overall. Maybe this will actually give them a little bit of a safety net as well, because like when we look into how they've played out, like they like to play a little bit far backwards and then try to get that setup being done, where Aaliyah really needs to go dive in head first. That really puts her in danger. But YOODO Red Giants, they have had that Lancelot in that last game, and you know what they're going to do? They're just going to continuously hunt out for this Novaria.
Yeah, I do like the Novaria pick over the Lilia, not going to lie, because of how we saw it was used in one of the games before this. It's like it stays all the way back and it became so difficult for the opponent to try to catch. But this could be the answer, the Lancelot. So I'm not surprised that the Lancelot has been picked after looking at the Novaria, because if they don't, potentially the Lancelot might be bad off because they don't need to worry about like the Dira for now. But now that I think about it, yeah, you don't really need the Dira because you already have the Lancelot. So you still stick to that. It is based on the games that we have seen, more important to deal with the Novaria rather than dealing with the Baxia with the Tank Shredder. So Lancelot is the case.
Yeah, and now moving into the second phase, I think it would be somewhat similar as well. I'm not sure if YRG wanted to switch it up by saying, hey, you know what? I think that we still have a split pushing issue. Maybe I want to consider removing the Benedetta, then they can actually do so. But Khalid is still a very, very strong pick that they don't want to give away, and it works very well with Apoxia also.
Yeah, with the Raging Sandstorm, so it's something that you don't want to deal with. But Yuzong, understandably, because Black Dragon Bomb, you can go all the way back as well. So something they don't want to deal with. Basically, right now they're banning out like heroes to protect the Novara. It's totally understandable. Novara free shots from behind with the Astral Recall is annoying, so it's something that they. But now, okay, the question is, Novara I think is somewhat protected with these bans, but on their second ban, I think that they'll consider to ban one of those. Let's see here. I'm looking at like a nice tanky one at the front because that's what YOODO Red Giants is lacking now.
Yeah, YOODO Giants really gotta find a very a pesky frontliner in order to keep everybody at bay, just like how they did with that Yuzong. And I think like that pick was probably one of the best that Gorgeous have ever played out. Now with Adigi being banned away, I don't think that it heavily affects the side of Smart Omega all too much, unless if they're gonna go for that Kaja. I think it's a Kaja angle right here.
It's a Kaja angle. Ooh. I don't know. I mean, a Kaja can probably only target the Bruno at this point. But we still have time, right? We still have time because now Smart Omega will be the one to pick it up. Kaja for them? I don't think it's their style. I think they'll go for... I wouldn't be surprised if they go for like a Kufra again, or maybe even like a Minotaur perhaps, because that is kind of needed to stop Lancelot.
Yeah, I do agree that that might just be the case where they default back to Hilda. They're not really switching somewhere too far off of their comfort picks. So I could basically jive with what that is being brought forward by the side of Smart Omega. And instead, they will switch it up and will introduce Chao for one of the very first time for Smart Omega in this series.
You know what? Or maybe they're anticipating Yums to pick the Cho. That's why they're like, okay, we'll pick it first. I kind of have the feeling that this Arlot will be the XP laner Arlot, so maybe that's why they kind of think that, okay, Cho, they're going to go for it because the Cho has somewhat mobility to be the substitute to deal with the second backline, which is the Bruno. And maybe even the Novaria, depending on how the rotation goes.
Or it could still be that roaming Arlot once again. Wait, they already secured the Arlot, so... now, I guess, like, if they were to pick some other type of a laner against a Paquito, they can still do so, but ideally you still want that. And Darov is going to go through. So that is going to be perfect. They get to shred a lot of all these frontliners, and I would say it works just about fine. Just that going for dives, they just have to be a little bit more careful because mobility-wise, of course, you got to make sure that everything is going to be clear for you to set foot forward.
Yeah, XP Dirov, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to be the tank shredder that all this while he has been banned off when the box has been picked by Smart Omega. So this is where we'll get to see something interesting. How will the tank shredder deal against the Baxia? There must be a reason why they've always banned out the tank shredder, right? So it's something that based on their strat, based on their rotations, they're not willing to deal with. I think this might have caught them off guard.
Yeah, certainly the case. And it's quite the genius move that they've been using this Arlot as a flex pick overall so that they get to basically pull off this trump card. So let's dive right into the Land of Dawn to see how the final game of the day will go.
Yeah, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The last game for today, the decider game. As we start off with Yums trying to go in a little bit more aggressive with the Roam Arlot again, it seems. Yeah, after that last pick, considering that Gorgeous takes the Dirov, definitely it's going to be a Roam Arlot. Now with this movement by Yums, I don't think he'll be able to go in as often as he would like, so he's probably going to play the similar strat as before, like along the river, going to lanes and just stay around there.
Yeah, and this is going to be a steadier pacing that they're going to be playing overall. And they've probably already learned their lesson from the past game, right? Especially Cho could just easily hunt him out. So now you're already seeing the power of that Dira being so dominant against a Paquito. What exactly can he do when the lane is just shoved directly towards him? And now Sir Matt is hoping to shove Yumski back towards his side of the map instead.
Yeah, and now it's still like a 50-50. I guess it's because of the pressure, considering that this is the last game. But in the middle, Yums, luckily he's not pulled back somehow towards or underneath the turret, so he's okay for now.
Smart Omega. They will need to find ways to eventually skill into the mid game overall, and I guess like they will get what they wanted, but Sir Matt is just slightly late to the crab, so they won't be able to get that one underway. But the turtle is already up. You see how swiftly this time around YOODO Giants pay attention to the first turtle, not wanting this to go to the hands of Smart Omega. But the problem is Gorgeous is already very low, won't be able to participate in this fight. Yums now drawing all the attention, also flickers away. Astro Recall now dropping on to get a little bit more of that vision, and eventually they will find ways to slowly chunk down the health bars. And yes, they will find Gorgeous, knowing that he's still hiding in the brushes.
Yeah, Astro Recall on point there to take out Gorgeous. Definitely the hero they need to target, but now speaking about target, Yumski is the next target. He overextended his stay, and did he just use the flicker inside the pit still? Oh man, did he? Yes! He used the flicker in the pit!
There wasn't a chance where he would be able to have enough to actually steal it away from that Foxia. I mean, guys got a retry, man. Like, you're not going to be able to win that damage. And I think this is just the nerves really getting into the head of Yumski, and now they are currently behind him from the EXP to the roam. So Smart Omega can just confidently go around the map and just secure what they need for now.
I mean, these small little mistakes are scary for YOODO Giants because the opponent can really snowball. So they cannot afford to continue on doing these small little mistakes. But keep your eye at the top lane. Looks like something's happening there. Ryota taken out by Gorgeous. So Gorgeous at least pulls one back because right now, YOODO Giants, they really need his tank shredderness.
Yeah, this Zero is pretty much occupied where the dragon now lands on top of Yumski. Just preying on the weakened support, and there is just a lot to deal with over on the side lanes. This is one of the cause for concern because while they were putting the roamer a little behind, it is going to be the Paquito that is being zoned away as well. But they focus their attention onto this 1-1. They do have their Astro Recall, getting that vision. A snipe goes through, not enough to take down Sith.
Ooh, that was a close one though, but hey, who needs Sith if you have the rest of them? So Cram goes in, but Cram does not have the minions together with him, so it's gotta be careful there not to overextend himself. And so far, nice discipline shown by Smart Omega.
Yeah, I just love how things have been played out for Smart Omega. Very strategic, and it's just a matter of a usual rotation for you to just go for a certain dive, and they will basically rinse and repeat again so long as the Baxia is nearby. But with the turtle, of course, you will give a little bit more of that priority towards the objective. Zach Cutie now slowly hovers across. Sekis now getting themselves ready. They do get that vision, get a shot over on the side of Zach Cutie. But I don't expect this to be a dive as they go ahead to reset that turtle. No heavy commitment just yet.
Everyone's just waiting for the right moment. One pick off and the turtle will be up for grabs. No one's really doing that split push thingy, so it's really all in onto the turtle for now. But we can see the movement here for Ryota. He is moving towards the top, so he's going to put a little bit more pressure onto the top lane, letting YOODO Giants think of should they go there. But it is still the turtle phase, so I guess it's not going to be big pressure for YOODO Giants, but still, they went onto the top not to allow Ryota to have a free farm moment there.
Not at all, and Sir Matt is just being occupied and will be rolling right through, trying to force their hands onto Sekis, but Sekis is a little bit too slippery. But will still be guarded by Ryota. Now looking for that hunt and will eventually dive right in. But Smart Omega way faster on their attempt on this turtle.
Another turtle secured by Smart Omega, and now we're starting to see the gap. About 1,000 gold difference, but hey, it is still 6 minutes into the game, so anything can still happen. But YOODO Red Giants, at least they kind of stopped doing that small little mistakes. They're back to discipline mode. But for you guys, speaking about modes, get onto the game mode right now. Key in this key in your in-game profile icon in the settings, the redemption code, and tell us what you got.
Oh, I heard that it's actually a skin out there, so you guys want free skin? Go ahead and grab it. Well, too late. We're gonna go for a team fight. They do get a catch onto West, and Gorgeous is just shredding them apart. There is just no escaping for Sir Matt. He does have a little bit of a safety net under the turret just to have called as a refuge, but that itself is kind of a worrying sign for the side of Smart Omega that the trades would actually go so well for YOODO Red Giants.
Oh, that Astro Record, that was a close one. If that ladder on the Yumski, he would have been a goner.
Yeah.
Nicely evaded there. Whew.
Somehow he does have a hunch that the Novara is somewhere around, so I'm glad that we see him jiggling his way through in order to make that escape. Now, stabilizing everything else, YOODO Red Giants have managed to also equalize after getting that pick. And over onto the top side, there's a little bit more of that open spacing, but there is going to be Sekis just getting in a little wander, and now getting a little focus fire onto a scram. Here comes Sekis. Should be able to dive right through. There you go. Sekis secures the kill. Looking for Sir Matt as well. Do they have the damage? Seems like the case, but the mobility is way too high to actually get their hands onto the Baxia. Now, a lot more of open room for them to secure themselves a turtle of their own.
Well, for some reason, Matt's retribution is on cooldown, not prepared for the turtle. So he was somewhat willing to give that up. And I guess with 2 turtles in that, that's okay. Probably he used it on something important as well, like the buffs. So yeah, I guess that's all right. But for Matt, yeah, without the retribution, he's just there, just walking by.
Oh, keep your eyes over on the top side though. The Diref is on the hunt, looking for the Paquito, and this is where Gorgeous tries to actually get the catch, but of course, it's just an easy dash out for Ryota. But from what we saw early on, this Paquito has managed to secure a turret by having all that spacing, even despite having the Diref to be around, while of course the turtle was being attempted, but was quickly exchanged with another turret of their own. No buff hijacks at this point of time. A little too risky for Smart Omega.
Look at the mid here. YOODO Red Giants, they definitely want this turret, and it's kind of open for them. I'm looking at the rotation of Gorgeous as well. Like, he's gonna put pressure onto the bottom lane. If he's left alone there, then Smart Omega may lose another turret, but definitely not gonna give that easy to him. Other than that, it's gonna be Skies just poking onto Crab. But if I would look at it as a whole right now, Smart Omega, they're starting to stick together a little bit more rather than spreading out.
Oh, they're going to actually get the catch over onto Gorgeous, but nobody's actually taking care of the top side. So this is going to be the second turret down. YOODO Red Giants, they will eventually be able to defend the bottom turret from crumbling. Though it is very brittle that any form of a minions that crashes right in will be able to just take it down. So Paquito is already on his way working that one out. Meanwhile, Roar coming up next. Yumski in position. And I guess, like, over on the bottom side, the Diref's at work, but you're not going to be able to catch that Paquito. So there's a very good reason why that Ryota brings Sprint to this fight instead of bringing Flicker, because you can just easily escape just relying on your spells. And now, Dives setting through on towards the purple side, and oh my word, Crab God falling low. Gorgeous still managed to actually get the one in the back, and Ryota having them melted down. Sir Matt could not find a way out, but Ryota finds his way back, looking for 2. He might just actually get them all as well. They have to retreat. This Lord is still up for anybody for the taking. Yusuke will guard it for now, while they will have 3 members to hunt out or should maybe crumble down the mid side. The Sith already at work.
Ryota smartly flanked and went in for the backline to secure that kill onto Zack Cutie. That kind of caught YOODO Red Giants off guard, but they know that Matt is not available, so they will start the Lord. But now Matt is back onto the battlefield. It's just a matter of whether Smart Omega can buy enough time, and yes, they will go in!
Where the Dragon connects, but there's no follow at all. They're way too far away. Crab God was overzealous and oversteps his welcome. Now, a 4 versus 5. This is so daunting for Smart Omega. They need to continue to whittle down their HP bars before anything can be done. We're waiting on the wings. That is being stolen away. Doesn't really matter all too much at this point in time, but any form of gold that really can get, this could basically help them find their way through 1-1. And speaking of which, they are the ones that hunts out the carry, and West is down. I think they eventually have to let this one go, and the rest of Smart Omega, they've already left the vicinity.
Nice flank by YOODO Red Giants to sniff out West and take him out. Again, if they're able to take out the goal laner, obviously they cut out a lot of damage output out of Smart Omega, and that is where they will take advantage to take down the Lord. And not even having Matt there as the retribution holder is able to steal away the Lord. But now eyes onto Ryota. But Ryota, I mean, he is a Pakido, but okay, Skies is there. Ryota caught in between 2 members of YOODO Red Giants, and he is taken now.
Yeah, he just went into the halfway mark, and it's just 5 members that he has to cut through, so definitely there's no chance for him to be able to stay afloat. But from the side of YOODO Red Giants, one after another, especially with Lord marching for the top side, they should be able to get an inhibitor from this standpoint, or at least chunk it down low enough for them to eventually secure one, to get the one from the bottom side, and now the rest of Smart Omega being pulled towards the top.
Oh, the Lord still active there. Now YOODO Red Giants making the rotation to the top. The Lord goes down the moment they arrive, so this is the opportunity, or this is the moment where YOODO Red Giants backs off.
This is getting a little bit too out of control for Smart Omega as well. Like, of course, the snowball effect, especially once they do secure Laura, gives them so much of these empowered minion waves as well. So, with this form of the talking point which you brought forward from the get-go when we started off this matchup, they look too linear, and I think like YOODO Red Giants really took advantage of this composition where honestly there is not too much of a threat coming from Ryota anyways. So they can just freely go in for these sides, but of course need to tread very lightly, because by any given moment that they do fancy a pickup onto this 1-1, a lot of damage is going to be out, and that Cutie, you can only rely on his damage when you are at a certain choke point for the ultimate to be channeled right through the entire team of Smart Omega.
Yeah, other than the one flag that Ryota did, we have not seen anything significant yet from Ryota. I mean, probably he's planning something. Probably he just needs time. Probably he will come up with like a insane split push or something. Because right now we can see he's like at the bottom lane. He's recalling back for sure, but okay, I guess not. Or maybe he's like kind of deciding like, does he want to go in for the split push or not? Because at this moment, YOODO Red Giants, they are still moving, and for him to show himself all alone is a big risk.
Definitely is a huge risk right now, because their tournament lives are on the line. Winner gets to advance, and the losers of these matches will have to say goodbye. And I also look at possibilities. If they're going to be lacking in terms of damage, then maybe Cram God can fit in an offensive item or so in order to at least have a little bit more of a power strike over on the backline if he does let a catch, but he could easily be bursted down as well. So I'm not too certain what exactly is the best approach. Smart Omega is just waiting, knowing that the Lord is still being challenged. And I think like they can basically have this full commitment. This Baxia is already out of the line, but slowly rolling right through.
Baxia!
This might just be a chance. And it will be the retribution over on side of YOODO Red Giants, but the rest of Smart Omega finds that golden opportunity, puts them onto the wall, and eventually
Sif
still surviving, and not longer the dive goes through, but that is going to be a risky position.
Oh,
will have
no.
to dash right across this Lancelot, still doing damage. Sekis buying time, and we need this Arlo on board. Where exactly is he? They will cut them right through. This is going to be a pick over on the mat. Not enough damage. We've got to look for Ryoda instead. This is going to take a long time, but they are juggling right through. Waiter Dragon connects, but Sir Matt will dive right back into safety. They're just trying to juggle it out, and Sekis still survives. How on earth are they doing this?
How on earth indeed? I mean, Skies, he wasn't supposed to survive that. And it took like forever for Smart Omega to take him down, and after all that effort, nothing. They got nothing out of Sky.
It's just buying a lot of time, and out of all that sort of ruckus that they've created, they did manage to have that Lord to crash over the bottom side. No waves were being pushed, and I felt like that was quite a big win for Smart Omega in terms of how much more time they can actually stall. This is definitely going to go beyond 20 over minutes, but they say, I will not wait any longer. We will go in for a fight. Is Yumski tries to bait Sir Matt into this battle, and now the dive set right through. They're now screaming for the life immortality on Crime God means that they will not be able to give much of a chase. So another 2 minutes before we have another contest for the Lord.
Oh. Immortality up, that means that for them to challenge or for them to protect the Lord will be even better. They can throw bodies in and the follow-up can happen. I mean, they have the follow-up potential. Look at the Skies, there's follow-up potential. Yumski, follow-up potential. Super Sif has follow-up potential as well. So for them to throw bodies, considering that they do have the immortality, I think that is kind of doable, but they need to do it really smart, not just throwing and burning the immortality and get nothing out of it.
I want to really take a look at the scoreboard as well as the itemization right now, because we already see like a Wind Talker up for the side of Bruno. It should be able to start melting out some of all these players of YOODO Red Giants. A little bit of a split push coming on, a 3-2 formation being set by YRG. Now, the calm before the storm sets in. I think they are looking for a dive. They will try to bait every member of Smart Omega to commit to the Lord, and maybe by then they can find a way to backdoor as well. So that could be one of the many angles that they could work with.
Ooh, right now YOODO Red Giants, I guess they're just making their presence felt and everywhere across the map. So Smart Omega is considering like, okay, do we really want to go for the Lord? Is this the right timing? But yes, they need to go for the Lord, no doubt about that, but it's just a matter of when. So now with the information that Matt got, he is there, he knows that Gorgeous has started the Lord, this is the signal for the rest of Smart Omega to come. So they need Rhoda to join them as well. Rhoda might go in for the flank since it's coming from the right side.
It's important for Cram to look for the most important target, and right now I'm thinking about the 1-1 that is going to really pose a threat to the front lines. Once the front lines are down, it's going to be way harder. Stormat now moves forward, and here comes the flank coming from Yoda as well, drawing the attention away. Some damage being chunked over the side of Yumski. But look at the top side of the wave. Somebody has to attend to it, and nobody has that attention span right now. Everybody fixates their eye over on the side of the Lord. Now, they do find themselves a target. The Lord is being let go, and they will pounce upon Crime God. Immortality being popped, and the flight is being scattered off. But Wes, he reveals himself, force the flicker, and this is where they turn their backs back towards Sir Matt. This might just be it. The golden opportunity for YOODO Red Giants to close it all out. Immortality pop. That is the Baxia God.
Oh, that is the one that they wanted down, and with the Baxia out, this is opportunity for YOODO Red Giants to get the Lord. And you know what really helped them is the fact that they still have the mid-first turret up. So Smart Omega has lesser space to work with. But now YOODO Red Giants going over the backline. They are trying to find the next target. Crab is in trouble. Crab will be the next one to fall to Sif. And Ray L trades it back with Yumski, but they lost the Bruno West instead, and that is even more important. Rhoda now in trouble, nowhere for him to go as the stun will hit onto him. This is the moment for YOODO Red Giants. Reverse sweep come back, take home the ticket onto the next round. Smart Omega, thank you so much for playing, but it's a moment for YOODO Red Giants.
YOODO Red Giants carries another Malaysian flag to the KOHAI C Championship in such a tremendous effort that we have seen out of the squad that have gone through all the struggles and now have basically booked their tickets into the next stage. Whew, what a feat out of the Giants. We saw how difficult this game was, but that pick onto the box hill was all that they needed to close off this entirety of the game. They did a double fake onto the Lord and just wipe out the rest of Smart Omega.
Man, can you imagine what a long day it has been for YOODO Red Giants because they started their series first. They had a long wait till this series. They had to play a full series for the both of them. They had to do a comeback, and this is the best moment for YOODO Red Giants. I mean, the comeback is always a good feeling. It's just that it's really exhausting. I can imagine that for the players.
Yeah, of course you do get a little bit of benefit of a little bit of a break in between, but of course your hands are not as warm as Smart Omega that will just concluded a series against another squad, which was Filipino civil warfare. But it's really heartbreaking for Smart Omega as well. They honestly played very, very well. It's just that this whole composition really heavily relies on their front line of engagement on who they get to pick off. The moment that they have free spacing coming from YOODO Red Giants, it didn't seem to be much of a problem at all. Like, you saw how many times Ryota tries to go for a pick, it doesn't happen. Same goes to Cramgod. Every time he dives in, his immortality gets popped, or he himself will be giving his life in order to make that exchange happen. So despite Wes having that damage, you see how efficient YOODO Red Giants have always been able to get through the back line and just seek him out.
Well, 15-8, ladies and gentlemen, is the final score. YOODO Red Giants, another reverse sweep for them. And you did point out, Ryota, he only managed to get one kill in this round. Cram, unfortunately, not able to get anything, but he is a Cho anyway. He is a roamer, so yeah, his role is just to create nuisance. But I must say that the fact that it's almost a repeat sort of strategy for Smart Omega, despite them changing the lineup, putting like Jom to rare. Yeah, that's not the right term. Okay, should have said. But putting Jom in the substitution, putting in another player on his behalf, like Wes. I would say that despite the change of players, it is still the same sort of strategy. And I think that is what YOODO Red Giants, they saw it coming and they're prepared for it.
Yeah, and I felt like maybe if it was anything different, it might just be, of course, a different result, but it is what it has resulted to be. Of course, thank you for the participation, but now we have all three teams locked in for their slots in order to proceed to the playoffs round, and the first slot has been secured for Group A. It is RSG Malaysia to take that one, and Minana Evos will represent the Philippines in order to continue their run here in the KOHAI C Championship. And now, with the new kids on the block that have just taken the final slot, it's YOODO Red Giants Esports.
Congratulations to these three teams. They will join in with other big names later on. And you want to